Well, welcome back to our online program on the stigma of addiction. And this stigma that the researchers have been noticing is now actually into the research itself, which is actually kind of interesting. There's a recent study, and the title of it is Subjective Aggression During Alcohol and Cannabis Intoxication Before and After Aggression Exposure. But just to give you some background on this big fancy name, many states in the United States have either legalized or decriminalized marijuana use, and of course there will be more to follow, for sure. In Canada, of course, Prime Minister said we're going to legalize marijuana in 2017. And so a lot of people are getting kind of curious that if marijuana is legal and people start smoking it, is that going to create social problems? And the stigma actually is kind of interesting. It says, well, alcohol, that's in the mind of many people, that's associated with aggression or violence, domestic violence, for example, or criminal behavior like impaired driving. So what they wanted to do is compare marijuana to alcohol on this measure of aggression. So what they did is they got a group of people and got them to get drunk, and a group of people and got them to smoke marijuana, and then they give them this money game. And the money game was designed to create aggression. And then they concluded from all of this that, in fact, alcohol creates aggression in drinkers, but if marijuana smokers, there's no aggression at all. And so it was actually meant to prove that, marijuana is not going to lead to all sorts of violence or domestic violence or anything. Which is an interesting experiment if you think about it. And here's the reason why it's so interesting, is because research has shown that what alcohol really does is it helps the drinker become absorbed into whatever the immediate environment around them is. So that's kind of interesting, eh? So here's the experimenters setting up this environment in which they're going to create aggression. And then they find out from the drinkers, oh yeah, we created aggression. But the research is kind of weak, because if you put them in a happy place, right, and had an environment where everyone's laughing and have a good time, because the drinker gets absorbed into the environment, that's what they'd be feeling. If they're all mellow and laid out on the couch, that's what the drinker would be feeling. But it's interesting that they chose aggression, and then apparently they offer this as proof that somehow alcohol is linked to aggression, when really the research doesn't confirm that. What alcohol is linked to is the person becomes absorbed into whatever the environment is. So it's interesting, again, and this is part of the stigma, right? That alcohol under the stigma is linked to aggression, to this impaired driving, to domestic violence, to criminal behavior, to getting in fights at the bar. When in actual fact, there's not a lot of evidence to suggest that. Anyway, that's it for this episode, and we'll be back next time with another episode on the stigma of addiction.